Alright, let's go ahead and do the eyebrows. For the eyebrows, we are going to select a geometry that we want. Then we're going to emit a particle here on there. Hit the tab key. And let's go. Press C as in cat on your keyboard. And then select some geometry here. Right now we are on Paint Select. You could hit Escape on your keyboard to get out of the Paint Select, and now you're able to navigate again. But press C again. So just select some areas that you want. It's best to select more than what you need. And keep in mind, you can see I'm also selecting some parts of the area here because we are going to have some hair follicles here, some ingrown hair. There's going to be the hair mostly accumulating in this area, but since he is a guy and guys barely pluck their eyebrows, we're going to see some leftover hair here. It's not going to be as much as what you see on the main one, on the main area of the eyebrows, but nevertheless, you're going to see some areas that are not shaved or plucked, okay? So that's why we need to select more geometry than what we need. Okay, and here, all around. I'm gonna go all around here. Hit Escape. And see. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and Control Shift click and do there. And you know what? I'm going to select one more all the way. Hit Escape on my keyboard, navigate, press C again, and just select all around. Hold Control to oh boy. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and select all the way up to here. And I'm going to Shift Z, make sure I don't have anything at the back selected. Alright, that's great. And let's go ahead and Shift D to make a copy, right click, press P, separate by selection. And we just go and select that mesh. I'm going to select both of the head and the eyebrow. Hold Shift click here, click off, and then click here again. And then I have this, which I'm going to press M and then put it in my hair collection. So now it's easier to find right here. I'm going to go ahead and name this one eyebrow underscore sculpt. Alright, and we could go Control Tab, go to our scope mode, and go to our filter here and inflate, and we could go ahead and scale it. Go ahead and just drag it down so it's gonna inside a little bit. There you go. Go to Object Mode. Now we need to Control A and All Transformation, and then make sure set origin to 3D cursor this time, because what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this on the other side. Let's go to set origin to 3D cursor, so then when we go to move tool, it's in the middle of the grid, the move tool there, I see. And then we could go to our modifier and add a mirror modifier, and that's very important so that when we add our particle, whatever particle that we add here, it will do it on the other side. Alright, and now that it's done, we can go to our particle system here. Alright, and click on the plus sign, and then make sure you set it to hair. And you can see that it doesn't add the particle on the other side. To make sure that the particles are emitting also on the other side, you have to go to the source here. Go to source for your particle. And then you're going to see something important, which is use modifier stack. Make sure that it is turned on. So if you go ahead and just check that on, now you can see the particle emitting on both sides of the geometry. And another important thing is if you go to modifier, you have to make sure that the mirror modifier is the number one on the stack, and then the second one is going to be the particle system. It has to be in that order, otherwise that use modifier stack is not really going to show the particles like what we have here. So make sure this is in order. Alright, and next up is, of course, this is way too long. You could bring down the hair length, maybe 0.1. And another thing is, it's too thick. So we could scroll down to our hair shape. Diameter root, I'm going to set it to 0.05. Okay, it's probably better. And tip, I'm going to set it to 0.01. And that's still way too long. So you have to look at your eyebrows of the character, of your subject, and to see how it looks like. My character subject here is a little... I'm going to have to take a look at my character's eyebrows again. You could also go to your subject, right? You could go ahead and try to trace out the eyebrows, and you can see that it's flowing in different directions here, right? And the best thing for us to do here actually is to just create each individual hair guides, and that will give us more control of the direction, the flow of the eyebrows. So this is going to be different from a little bit different from how we did this hair here. Okay, for the hair here, we added a hair map, and we're not going to do that for the eyebrows. One, I think we're going to have a lot more control if we just let us control exactly where it's going to go and how we comb it. Okay, so for long hair or like the eyebrows, yeah, for really long hair that goes in different direction, it's best to just kind of add the hair yourself manually than having to use the hair density. Okay, so it really depends on what you're doing. All right, so for this here, like I said, this is just way too long for now, so we could bring this down. I'm gonna set it to 0.01 maybe. I think that is still a little, that might be a little too short, so I'm gonna set it to 0.02. Okay, I think this is probably better. I think it's better to have a little bit more length, because we could always bring it down anyways, the hair length. Okay, yeah, I think that is good. Yeah, it should be good enough. And then we could go to our number here. We're not going to start out with 1000. We're not going to start out with any hair guides at all. So let's go ahead and set 0. We're going to be adding these ourselves manually. To add each individual hair, let's Control Tab, go to Particle Edit. And just to let you know, once you go to Particle Edit, you're not going to be able to go to the emission anymore and adjust this. This is going to be frozen, which is fine because all we're going to need are the tools that we have on this area here. We're going to have our brush tools here, and the main brushes that we're going to be using is going to be the comb brush and also the add brush. Comb brush allows you to style the hair. Add brush allows you to add each individual hair guides that you need. And I suggest that you create shortcuts for the main tools that you're going to be using. I'm mainly going to be using the hair comb brush and also the add brush here. So to add a shortcut, you just go to your tool, right click, assign shortcut, and then click any keys on your keyboard. And yeah, so basically the comb and add, very important. I might use the smooth later on to smooth out the hair if I made it a little too frizzy. I might go to length to decrease the length or to increase the length of the hair. The puff here, I barely use this, but let's say it starts to sink in the hair too much on the geometry, I could puff that out. Cut, I don't really use this because to delete the particles, I usually just use the delete key on my keyboard. I select the particle and delete it. And weight map, I'm not going to use it for this because we're not going to have any weight map for this at all. And of course, this is the selection. And let's go to our add brush, and we could go ahead and just click once on the area where we want the hair. And you can see there's 10 of these hair strands that's been created, and we don't want 10. Let's undo that. Let's go to count and set this to 1. And for our keys, if we add a hair here and we have 5 keys there, it's going to be creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which we don't need because our hair is going to be actually pretty short, so we don't need that much points on there. We could go ahead and set this to maybe 4 is fine. And yeah, I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and start to add our hair. Look at your reference and think about where the hair is going to be needed on your geometry. So I like to just go up, down at the beginning like this, just around the areas where I need the hair. And just add 1 on certain areas of the hair here. You could always add more later if you go. Alright, so something like that. And then, how do we comb this? Of course, go to our comb brush. And we could go ahead and comb it down. Go ahead and comb it this way. It's always best to look in this direction also. Just gonna comb it up slightly. This and down. That. And always good to look in all views. And then I'm gonna go back to my comb brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and add one right here. Now, if I add one right there and I add one right here and I want to comb this, just these two new hairs that I've added without affecting this, there is a way to be able to just adjust this without adjusting the others. So you could hover your mouse over these hair strand of the new ones that you have added, and then you could go to your, if you go over here, there's selection mode. You could click on this selection mode, the point selection mode right here, and then you could hover your mouse over the area of the particle that you want to manipulate. So I only want to manipulate these two. I'm gonna hover my mouse over here, press L, hover my mouse over here, press L. So now these are the only ones that I'm going to be able to comb without affecting the other ones that I have here. Okay, so this is very convenient. So I'm gonna go to my comb brush to just style this particular area. Right. If you want to deselect it, Alt A on your keyboard. And let's say I want to just manipulate this area, press L. And I'm going to go and just kind of slightly comb this down, move this up. You can see I'm always looking in the top view. If you want to select everything, you could press A as an apple on your keyboard. You could like manipulate all of these. You don't want it to stick out too much. You still kind of want it on the skin of the character. And then Alt A on your keyboard to deselect. And I'm going to hover my mouse over here, press L to select just one. And then I'm going to go and just pull this down, this direction. Okay, Alt A. And I'm going to hover my mouse over here. Move this down. Here you go. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead, Alt A again to deselect. And I'm gonna go to my add brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and click here. Click here, here. You could press B as in boy, and then you could go and select all of these all at once, and then Control L on your keyboard, and that grows your selection. It selects everything. And then once again, we could go to our comb to style this. So this is why it's so important that you make a shortcut for your brushes, because you're gonna go back and forth between brushes. So yeah, don't forget to add a shortcut. Right click and just create a shortcut. Okay. And this way, Alt A, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add another. I'm gonna add some right about here, right about here, right about here. Okay. You can see that we have definitely a lot more control by doing this. Control B as in boy, and select all of these. Oh. Not Control B. I did a render region there. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. I'm gonna press N, turn off render region. Alright. Press B as in boy, not Control B. And then you can go and select these. Control L. Press L. All right. And yeah, just gonna go ahead and just comb this out. And comb this down. Of course, if you find that this might be a little too short or too long, you could go to your length brush right here, and then you could go ahead and make this longer by painting. If you want to make it shorter, hold shift on your keyboard and then you could make it shorter as needed. Very convenient. All right. Now I think I'm going to add. So just take your time. This is probably the part that's going to take the longest, just adding these hair here in the places that we need it. And then maybe I'm going to add one right here. And here is going to be the ingrowth hair. And then I'm going to go ahead and select these. Control L. And then comb it. I think this is probably going to go in this direction. I could see now that this has to go in this direction. So I'm going to have to kind of fix the flow of the hair here. And then this one going to have to go in this direction. Kind of like that. Go. Okay. Yeah, this right here needs to be fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press B and select just this region right here. Control L. And then I'm going to just comb this to make it go a little bit in this direction. There you go. Very good. And then I always look in the top, because once you adjust it from the front, it will definitely change the way it looks at the top. Okay. You see how there's some big gaps here? That might give us issue later on. We might have some hair gaps, some spots here that are missing here if we have like a big gap here, too much space. So we have to make sure that we add some more hair on this area. So let's go ahead and add one right here, 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 here. And then I just want to manipulate these. Comb that out. Comb this like this. This like that. This way, this direction. Alt A. Alright, I'm gonna hover my mouse over here, press L, and I think this one, and I think I want to go ahead and make it go in this direction. I think it has to go that direction. Looking at my hair and the flow, looks like it has to be like this. Much better. Alt A to deselect, and then I'm gonna add some right here, 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 and here. And just come in this direction. Okay. All right, let's kind of see what we have. So to add more hair here, there is something that we need to do because these are just hair, guys, and we need to populate this with more hair.